Hi, I'm Susan Chainer with Sage Leadership Strategies, and I'm your host today of Community Forum. And I have the great pleasure to have with me Chris Benezra, who is currently the president of Danbury Animal Welfare Society, otherwise known as DAWS, in Bethel. Welcome, Chris.
Thank you, Susan, for having us.
Well, thanks for joining us. So can you just, for our viewers that aren't familiar with DAWS, can you just explain what DAWS is and how it serves the community?
Sure, my pleasure. DAWS is our local animal rescue organization. We've been around since 1974. We've continued to evolve since then. Last year we celebrated our 35th anniversary. We had over 600 adoptions. It was an all-time high in adoptions for us. So we focus on rescuing animals, rehabilitating them if necessary, and then sending them out to qualified adoptive homes.
So last year was a record year. What do you attribute that to?
You know, it's interesting because we were nervous considering the economy, what was going to happen. We're not sure. We're hoping that it was because we've continued to build our community ties and people are starting to realize where we are. We just had a new sign put in front of our building. Before it was a little anonymous. It could have been mistaken for something else, but now it's clearly people can see that this is where we are.
Have you done more fundraisers, or maybe I'm just more aware of them in the last few years?
Well, we do have several fundraisers. Our two major anchor events have definitely brought in a lot of publicity for us. Earlier this year, we had the second annual Puppy Love Ball. Thank you, Cheryl. We had our second annual Puppy Love Ball where we had honored Congressman Chris Murphy. So that definitely brought us some recognition.
What's a Puppy Love Ball? That sounds kind of fun.
A few years ago, one of our benefactors had wanted to celebrate the memory of her dog, and she thought the best way to do that was to throw a party. So she threw a party for DAWS in her dog's honor. And she helped with some of the underwriting of the initial event, and we basically have a silent auction, a live auction, and it's a night of celebration of what animal rescue is all about. And so we've continued that tradition from when she started, or gave us the kickstart for it.
That is adorable. Well, I know we can talk more about it, but I know we've got some actual animals here.
Yes.
So we probably should get to them early on, I think.
Exactly. 600 last year was fantastic, but I'd like to introduce you to two animals that we have up for adoption right now in the shelter. Okay. And of course, our volunteer cat program chair, Cheryl Rykowski.
Hi, Cheryl.
Hi. Thanks for having us come back or come on.
Yeah.
We have two cats today, and I want to tell you a little bit about the cats before I show you the cats, because cats are cats and they're a little unpredictable. So once I get them out, they might walk around, but they might be a little timid. So I want to tell you about them first.
Okay. I'm just going to look at them because, just for our viewers, I would love to hold them, but I'm allergic.
That's okay. That's fine. Not a problem. Thankfully, I'm not.
Okay.
So we have two cats today. In the red carrier is
door number one.
In door number one is Hera, and Hera is a beautiful cat. She's a long-haired cat. She came to us several months ago. She's very sweet. She's one of our slightly older cats. She's about 10 years old. She's got a wonderful disposition and great markings. When we got her, she had kind of long hair that was matted, so we had to shave her. So for a long time, she looked like a lion with a big poofy mane and a very shaved, sleek body, but she's fluffing out again. She is a...
How do you know she's 10 years old? Did you get her from the owner? Or?
Hera was, I believe, Hera was a surrender, so we have her approximate age, plus all of the cats and dogs that we get into the shelter are vetted upon arrival, so our vets are able to at least give an age approximation.
Now, I know you use the term surrender, which, you know, my family's had our own issues with a problematic dog and thinking what we could do with it. And surrender, tell us a little bit about that word. That's just to me, that seems like a really charged word, surrender.
Well, it happens. Certainly in 2008 and 9 with the economy, we had both dogs and cats that were surrendered because of people having financial problems and not being able to care for their animals, or people having to move house to maybe downsize and not being able to take their animals with them. So
it must be very emotional for some
It is.
people.
And we've had people who have surrendered their animals come back and visit with their animals, or try to follow up and understand who, has their animal been adopted, if so, by whom. We don't give out names and addresses, but we will. you know, say that it was adopted by a family with children and they live in the area or whatever the case may be, so that these people who are surrendering their animals can understand that yes, a loving home has been found.
And so even though they can't care for them for whatever reason,
Correct.
obviously they still care about the animal and want to
Correct.
make sure they're doing okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And so we're happy to share that information. So people have very valid reasons for surrendering animals, and we honor that at all times. And we're happier that someone brings an animal to us than abandons an animal.
You know what, I'm wondering, because for some families it may be very difficult, what would you say to them in terms of if they feel like they're going to be judged like they're awful people because they're not caring for their animals?
They will not be judged.
Okay.
It is a caring act to surrender an animal to a no-kill organization like ours, where the animal will be cared for and it will be placed for adoption and it will be found a forever home.
Yeah.
So that is a caring act, and we will honor anyone who comes to us with
I
an
just
animal.
wanted to hit on that because I think that would be important for people to feel like,
Absolutely.
this is a great thing to do for their animals.
This
They
is an
can't care about-
appropriate
yeah.
move when you cannot care for your animal any longer.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay.
So let me try to get Farrah out here
Yeah.
to see how this goes. She's very sweet, but she's never been in a studio before. Sweetie, you want to come out and say hi, or do you want to stay in your cage?
Hiding in there.
All right, I'm off.
We did have, I'd say, a dramatic increase in the surrender requests last year for both cats and dogs because of the economy, because of foreclosures in the
Yeah.
area.
But then it sounds like you were able to record adopting as well.
Some animals, some cats particularly, were coming in, were going out, adopting as fast as they were coming in.
That's great. Oh, she looks sort of, is she calico?
Oh, a little, not. Can you hear me? A little, not much calico, but she's definitely a long-haired cat. She's got this beautiful fur. We got it under control in terms of the matting, so she looks great.
Wow,
I mean,
she's
quite
got
frankly,
really thick fur.
she's got beautiful thick fur, and you can imagine an animal that's this calm in a completely foreign environment with lights on and people around that she doesn't know. This is a sweetie pie. This is a lap cat that just wants to go home with you.
Oh my gosh, is she purring?
She's purring.
I can hear her.
She's purring. She's happy. She's on the lap.
So cute.
She's warm. She's, you know, I gave her
She's
some
really,
treats.
she looks very healthy. I mean, she's really a big cat. Like, how many, what do you think? She's like 30, 40 pounds? She looks big, no?
Yeah, she's practically a horse. We'll throw a saddle on her.
She looks
She
big.
probably weighs 12 pounds.
Oh, she looks bigger than she's
She's-
got all this hair.
She's got all this fluff. She's probably part Maine Coon, which is a beautiful breed of long-haired cat, but she's real
And
happy.
it's also one of the larger size breeds of
Yeah.
cats.
Okay, because I'm like, wow.
Yeah, she's real happy. So,
That's amazing that she's
oh,
purring.
she's definitely excited to be here. And
So we have about 75 cats at the shelter at any one time, but that isn't our entire cat population because we try to use a network of foster homes for animals
Okay.
that have special needs or young animals, particularly kittens and puppies. The shelter environment is not the best environment for them, and
So if you, so a foster home, so if you get one, then you'll tap one of your foster families and have them come and take the cat, just so the cat doesn't stay in the shelter?
Exactly, especially if the cat is particularly timid and needs to be worked with, or a dog that has a medical issue, for example,
Okay.
that wouldn't be able to have the attention because there isn't somebody in the building at all times.
Yeah.
Then if a dog just had surgery and we need to have them recuperate someplace particular, then a foster home is our best option. So we're always looking for foster homes.
Okay, great.
would you like to meet Lucy?
Yes.
So the other cat I have is Lucy, and
Okay.
Lucy came to us because a gentleman had found her. I think she had appeared in his backyard, and he was feeding her, and he had taken her in. But Lucy has a malformed leg, and the leg was difficult to manage. It was getting sore, and it was having some abrasion issues. So he wasn't able to care for her effectively. So he brought her to us, which was great. We had considered at one point having her leg amputated because she was kind of walking on it backward. It would be like you walking on the top of your foot as opposed to the bottom.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so we brought her to the vet, and the vet, it was in the process of examining her, realized that part of the reason she was walking incorrectly was because she had a pin about yay big in her leg. She had obviously at one point been an owned cat that must have suffered a break from some means, we don't know how, and was taken to a vet and the leg was pinned. And the vet, pulled the pin out. And so now what we're trying to assess is whether or not she actually needs to continue to have a treatment, or if she can be the way she is, walking a bit funny, but fine, or eventually possibly the leg would need to be
So
amputated.
that's interesting. So clearly she was cared for well in some capacity for somebody to repair her leg. And so what do you find? Like maybe she just drifted off, or the owner
Could
who
have
knows?
run away, could have
Yeah.
been abandoned. You know, anything. We hear all kinds of stories around abandonment.
I see her
anything.
eyes looking out. She's looking out.
Yeah,
She was just peering out.
let's see if she'll
got-
come on out and say hello. Come on out, Luce.
Oh.
I don't know where she's going to go.
We do have an in-house clinic in the shelter that when our animals come in, they are examined initially. We can treat many things, but in a case like Lucy, with the leg, she needed x-rays, and she went outside to an external vet. And the vet that she actually went to was very generous to us, and they give us a very nice discount. But she's a good example of how we might be asking, we might put up a plea and asking to help pay for her medical costs.
As I would, imagine that's quite high. So is the one on the back? I mean,
It is. It's kind of underneath me now. And
Okay.
since she's happy to not get off my lap, I'm happy to keep her here.
She's got a beautiful coat.
She's got a beautiful
She's
coat.
mellow too.
Yep. We have to bring the mellow ones out because some of them are, you know, they're escape artists. But she's wonderful, and she's a great cat. She's not
There's-
terribly old.
There's Daisy, who's my favorite
Yeah.
cat.
Yeah.
And we have most of our cats are in a community room, so they're loose and free at most times. And Daisy, every time you would open the door coming in from one of our other rooms, she tries to dart out just to say hi, to say, hey, I'm here.
Checking things out. Checking things
But
out.
her coat looks particularly clean to me.
Well, the cats are great groomers, and
Yeah.
she's great at grooming herself. Since she doesn't have any health issues, there would be no reason that her coat wouldn't be beautiful, and it is. She's a lovely cat, and you know, obviously, again, in an environment that's completely foreign to her, she's doing great. So you imagine how well she would adjust to a lovely home at some point.
Yeah, that's great.
Is she good with other cats, do you know?
Oh yeah, she's great with other cats. She's in a room with other cats, as is Hera. They're both in rooms with
Okay.
many cats. We have about 60 to 65 cats on premises at any time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's good to know, because if you know, some potential adopters have other cats, to know that they're fine with other cats.
Yeah, absolutely. We provide as much information as we can to find the right fit for the cat and the family. So
Okay.
she'd do great in a
Right,
family with
right.
other cats.
I think it is a constant assessment too, because of our volunteers come in on a daily basis to socialize with the animals, so they get to know them more and more, and that goes into their information when a potential adopter comes to our door.
Like their personalities and their quirks.
Exactly,
Yeah.
their favorite toys, what kind of food they like.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. Well, you know, it's helpful to have real live animals other than just talking about it, and the cats have been terrific, and
Yeah.
we've also had a fabulous dog waiting in the wings over here, which is amazing. He or she is doing really well. Do you want to?
I'd like to introduce Lawyer Ramonde and our
Thanks,
Lily.
Cheryl. I just, the dog's been so good, so I.
Lily is our
Bring him up.
longest term, she'll be joining us in a moment. She's our longest term canine resident of the shelter. She's been with us for 4 years.
4 years.
4 years. We rescued her from the New Haven Animal Shelter a day before she was set to be euthanized.
Oh,
She's also one of the stars of our training program. We're lucky enough to have
that's very good.
a trainer that spends a great deal of time with our dogs and to assess their temperament, their behavioral needs, so that we can find the best home for them. For instance, if someone comes in and says that they're a hiker, we probably wouldn't give them a Chihuahua or.
Yeah, right.
And our trainer Bruce helps us do those kinds of matches.
So, do you scout centers where they euthanize? I mean, you said you rescued her, so you knew. I mean, how does that work?
So typically, where we get our cats and dogs are from 2 different places. We do rescues from many different places, but with the dogs, we either rescue from a local pound that has a euthanasia list. We have the surrenders that come to our door, people that have changes in circumstances, obviously like the cats as well. And then we also do what we call transports, because outside of Connecticut, there is vast overpopulation. I mean, we do have overpopulation in Connecticut, but to the point in other states that they're bringing in 50, 100 dogs a day into what's called kill shelters. So we rescue off of those lists. We will literally go and rent a van maybe several times a month.
Really? That's amazing.
Our volunteers rent a van and they will drive 2, 4, 6 hours to meet up with the Humane Society of Ohio, or a shelter from
Really?
Kentucky.
I
Or
didn't know that.
we just did a transport last weekend from Tennessee.
It's all over.
Yeah.
So, do you also promote neutering and so?
We do. None of our animals actually leave the shelter unless it is a kitten, because there's certain weight requirements around a kitten, without being spayed or neutered first.
Because of this overpopulation, I mean, let's take care of the animals that we have before, right?
Exactly. And we also offer a low-cost spay-neuter clinic for people that have financial need in the area.
Okay.
So that is actually one of our biggest resources is our clinic, which is on the second floor of our facility, and it's staffed about 3 to 4 days a week now with professional veterinary staff, and we offer low-cost vaccines and low-cost.
That's terrific.
Spay and neuter.
So, how do you get the word out about that, and how frequently do you have the neutering services?
The neutering services, basically, we'd ask people to contact us by website, by email,
Okay.
and then we will schedule them based on the time that we have with veterinary care after our own animals have been seen. Let's say if we have a new transport on a Saturday evening. On Monday, we typically will have a vet with us, and they will see all the animals that we have initially, so that we can make sure that they're healthy.
Okay.
And then if we have time left with the vet, then we will schedule calls from the public.
Yeah, that's terrific. So, what else can you tell us about her?
Yeah, she's been with us 4 years. We got her when she was 10 months old, and honestly, I think if you could ask any volunteer in the organization, or any
Yeah.
volunteer, particularly on the dog program, they would say that their #1 goal this year is to find Lily her own home.
Why do you think she hasn't been placed yet? She's so calm. I mean, again, in this strange environment, she's doing so well.
I honestly don't know. It could be because of her breed. She is obviously part pit bull, and there's a lot of misconceptions about the breed.
Yeah.
So, and that's part of what DAWS wants to do, is to educate about animal welfare in general, but particularly we want people to come to us with questions about dogs and cats, so that people.
So she's
Their
part
mom.
pit bull, and what else?
Honestly, we're not sure. We were talking about it last week, and we thought about trying this new DNA kit that they have on. You can buy from various places. It's a
Oh, really?
swab.
Figure
It's
it
a
out?
swab in the cheek,
Yeah.
and then we can find out what she really is.
Because I almost thought a little German Shepherd, no, but she's got.
Staffordshire Terrier gives her those ears, the look.
Yeah. But she seems pretty gentle.
She's in our training program. She knows all her basic obedience. She heals great. She sits, stays. She's actually a very well-behaved dog.
Oh, that's great. So, if somebody was interested in adopting either one of these cats or a dog, or just in general coming down to the shelter, can you tell us a little bit about what the process is?
Sure. Our shelter is administratively run by volunteers. As I mentioned, Cheryl's a volunteer, I'm a volunteer, Lori's a volunteer, and we have an adoption process. So when someone's interested in adopting a cat or a dog, they can fill out an application online and send it in, or they can come during our open house hours. We have open house hours every evening that's run by volunteers.
Okay.
It's 6 to 8 o'clock, and on the weekends, 2 to 4.
Okay.
So you would come in, you would fill out an application, you would look at the cats that we have available if you hadn't already picked one out on our website, because many times people have spotted somebody that caught their eye, and they come in
Yeah.
specifically to say, I'd like to meet Lily.
Yeah.
But if you didn't look on the website, one of our counselors will talk to you and ask you questions about your lifestyle, and then we'll try to match you up with the appropriate companion.
So for people who've had animals before, they have a sense of what they're getting into, and then it's just a question of matching the right personality animal with the family. For those who haven't had animals before, what do you say to them in terms of helping them really understand what's required? Because it's a big responsibility.
Yeah, we would say adopting a companion animal, a cat or a dog, is a 10 to 15, possibly 20-year commitment that
Yeah.
you're making at the time.
Yeah, yeah. So you talk to families a little bit about what's required, and
Yeah, we would also like to meet everyone that's in the household as well.
Yeah.
Because if someone comes in to fill in an application, they could be living with grandma, they could be living with younger kids, older kids, and we just want to make sure that everybody in the house has met the animal that they're adopting as well.
so do you ever have? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And also, what kind of lifestyle
The lifestyle.
that they lead. So if they're active, or if they want a more mellow dog, or
Yeah.
if they want a dog to go hiking and etc. So you'd find that out as well.
To try to get a good match.
Right.
So have you ever had an instance where a family, it ended up not being a good match and you got the animal back?
Well, we do ask if the adoption doesn't seem to be working out, that you would meet with our trainer, for instance, if it's a dog, and they could work through any potential issues. And if it really wasn't a match, we'd ask everyone that has a DAWS animal to give DAWS the chance to take the animal back.
Okay, so that would be their first point.
Yes.
Okay. And then for families, we mentioned earlier, who have an animal that they want to surrender, again, they would contact you, and then would there be a whole application process as well, or they would?
With surrendering, it's specific to either a cat or a dog. Typically, we do have a wait list, because we do get so many requests. So then you would be asked to fill out something, and then if we had immediate availability, perhaps in the cat program, it would be seen by the vet and then intaked. And with the dog program, we'd ask to meet with our trainers, and they can assess if there's any behavioral issues that we need to be aware of.
Okay. And then, so it's all run by volunteers?
Almost administratively entirely. The entire adoption process is end to end. We do have a shelter manager who's at the shelter every day, Monday through Friday, and she's responsible for the overall health of the animals and of the shelter environment.
And that's a paid position, but
That is
all
a
the
paid
rest are
position.
volunteered?
Yes, we are hoping to increase the number of paid positions that we have. So as we grow the organization and we're able to make more adoptions, we're going to need more staff. We hope.
Well, it's incredible. I mean, you're all doing such a great service.
Thank you.
I mean, obviously, you love the animals. I mean, that's
one
the
thing we all
passion,
have in common.
right? That you all have in common. So, how does the organization get its funding?
Well, most people would think that we get our funding through adoptions. Our adoption fee for a dog is $200. Our adoption fee for a cat depends on if it's a cat or a kitten. It's $75 for an adult cat or $25 for a kitten. But when you add up the cost of actually running a physical shelter, as well as some of our programs that we run outside the shelter, the adoption fees only come up to about 20% of the overall cost of running the organization. So our marketing committee, which is also entirely volunteer run, bears a heavy burden on paying for the rest of the programs that we have in place.
So then it's just the fundraisers and whatever else you can do.
It's basically, we have 2 anchor events, like I mentioned before, Puppy
Yeah.
Love.
Yeah.
And this, on February 20th coming up, we'll have our 3rd annual, and it'll honor our local hero in Bethel, Paul Queso. He's been very kind to us. He's actually the exemplary adopter. He and his family adopted the dog for us, and then came back to continually support us. They put together a project. Paul's the person who actually had our sign put in and had requested assistance from other local businesses in Bethel to help
That's great.
landscape and with the masonry work on it.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. What do you hear from families who adopt? I mean, obviously, he's one of your star families, but do you hear a lot that families come back and keep you informed on how the animals are doing?
We get a lot of happy tales, and I think the reason that we do that is
No
because
pun intended.
is because we actually follow up with them. We follow up after the initial adoption, we follow up a week after, we follow up 3 weeks after, a month, 3 months after, and sometimes even up to 6 months.
That's great.
And I think one of the important things to know about the happy tales is that even though DAWS has rescued the cat or dog from either a situation if the cat was abandoned or a dog from a local pound or out of state, their happy ending is not with DAWS. Their happy ending is when they finally get to their forever home.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. So if someone wants to volunteer at the shelter, let's say they're an animal lover and they're watching this show, what would they do to get involved?
We do have a volunteer application, and we would ask that they we have an orientation every 3rd Monday of the month.
Okay.
And we'd ask they come to the orientation and hear a brief overview of the organization, because we are pretty big and we have different areas that people can volunteer in. Some people might come in and want to work with the cat program, some might want to work with the dog program, but we ask that you give us an hour to find out what the organization's all about as a whole.
Okay. And so they can volunteer with the kind of animal that they want to volunteer for, and then I'm sure there's flexibility in terms of when and what they would do.
Absolutely,
According to the
especially,
schedule.
well, for the open house, that's when people would get to
Yeah.
work with potential adopters or socialize the animals. But we have so many different volunteer needs that don't necessarily need to be done in the shelter. Most of the marketing, especially the grant writing, that's something that somebody can do from home.
That's great. Now, I know a couple years ago, I was the Girl Scout leader for my daughter's Girl Scout troop, and I was also teaching her religious education class, and it just so happened the same year, both of those groups wanted to donate to DAWS. So in one case, the girls made blankets for the cats. In another case, they did a fundraiser where they just had everybody, you know, at church bring in different products, and I packed up my car and we brought a whole bunch of different goods over. If somebody else was watching, wanted to, whether donate food or toys or contribute in some way, what would they do?
I would love for them to go on our website and check out our wish list. And
Okay.
it things that we use on an everyday basis, that if it's supplied by the drives that you're talking about, then it saves the organization money from having to go out and buy canned cat food or
Yeah.
or bleach or paper towels or just the basic supplies that, you know, we might take for granted that we need to run the facility every
Yeah,
day.
so somebody doesn't have to write a check, but if like the grocery store and they wanted to pick up extra cans or something, you know, they could do that. But it's best to go on the website to see what the list is.
Yes.
Okay.
And we actually even need things like gas cards. Now you would think, why would we need a gas card? We need gas cards so that we can pay for the transports to actually go and rescue the animals
Makes
from
sense.
out of state.
Wouldn't have thought of that.
There,
Yeah,
there's
that's
so
great.
many different things.
So we've got another minute. So what's kind of your vision for where the organization's headed, and you know what you want to do?
Well, last year, actually in 2008, we had established the organization's first vision statement to match our mission statement. And our mission statement basically dictates what we do on a daily basis. But the vision set forth where we want it to be in 10 years. And we keep working different milestones. We'd like to be the regional leader and resource for the community, for the greater Danbury area, so they know if they want to add a companion to their family to come to DAWS first. And then also be able to provide, as you were saying, with your daughter's Girl Scout troop, we want to be able to provide formal education so that we can let people know that there are so many animals that are being euthanized all over the country, that it's important to adopt from a shelter, especially a shelter like DAWS, a no-kill shelter, because for every adoption, we're actually saving 2 lives. You're saving the life of the animal you adopted, and that frees up space for us to rescue or take in another surrender.
That's incredible. You're doing such good work. Thank you, and thank you for coming on the show.
We appreciate it. Thank you so
Now,
much.
if somebody wanted to contact you, just give the website really quick.
www.daws.org.
DAWS, D-A-W-S.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Susan Chainer with Community Forum. Until next time, thank you for joining us.